Assalamualaikum, folks. Do you know what to do when you die? No, a lot of people don't know what to do when they die. Of course, you just die. But today, because it is Wakaf month and the topic of people dying and leaving behind a legacy is floating around a lot, I decided, hey, let's not talk about leaving behind a legacy lah. Because when we run our wasiat classes, we know that, go to court lah, take the harta lah, gerbak gerbu. But the most common question I get is what to do immediately after somebody dies. That one, nobody knows. They're like, oh yeah, tanya kawan. Oh no, call police. Oh, macam mana? Right? You guys have heard something similar?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, orang meninggal. What do? Call police. Because the first time I heard this, I think I was not even a teenager. I think 9 or 10 years old. Relative passed away. And then I heard the older relative say what? Oh, dia dah meninggal, nak kena call police. My first thought was, this person, what did he do wrong? Say, dia dah meninggal tu. Call police. Oh.
Handcuff masuk lockup.
Masuk lockup.
Yeah.
We make it sound funny, but
even when I was a young rookie police officer, first few cases where they say, oh, there's a death case, we need to attend. Like, why? Why do I need to be there? He's already dead.
What did he do wrong?
So Zul, so when you attend, what do you do?
Oh, okay. So we need to liaise with whether it's a paramedic or the GP or the family doctor who's there to assess them, to ensure that there's no foul play lah. That we want to rule out foul play. Because you just don't want the incidents where it's a case of bully, or like murder. They assault until we just heard that someone died. Then after that, they just call and say, "Oh, he just fell. He fell down and died." So it's just to rule out
the knife.
It's just to rule out foul play.
He fell down on the knife 27 times. But in all seriousness, have you seen cases of foul play?
Yeah.
What's the scariest one?
A bit long pause there.
I mean, it could be as simple as suicide lah.
Oh.
Where they block out the whole room and smoke the whole room to suffocate themselves.
Smoke the whole room using what?
Yeah. Charcoal.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's death by carbon dioxide?
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah. You just have to close out your window, then you just make sure that the ventilation is very minimal. Then you just burn charcoal in your room.
Judging from Asri and my reaction of total stunned silence, folks, if you're listening, this is not advice on what to do. Please do not do that. Please seek the help from a qualified mental health professional before you do any of these kind of things. My God. Oh my God. I think we're all both very, very stunned. I want to stop this line of questioning before we give our listeners any kind of other ideas. But yeah, I mean, Zul brings up a fantastic point, foul play. So for all our listeners out there, when we run our classes and I speak to many professionals within the field, especially with the Urusan Jenazah, the Muslim casket services, really the first thing you need to do is either call police or call a doctor, right? So step one, either you call your family doctor and they'll come down if the death occurred at home. Okay? If the death occurred at home, the doctor will come down, and if you cannot get a doctor, call the police. The doctor will then figure out whether this person passed away naturally or unnaturally, which is where the police need to come in to check for foul play and all. What I understand, Zul, correct me if I'm wrong, is if the doctor is able to determine the cause of death, it's okay, all good. Then you proceed to next step. But if the doctor cannot, and it's like you say, from suicide, foul play, cannot determine the cause of death, they bring the dead body to the mortuary.
Yes.
What happens there?
They will have to do investigation where usually there will be postmortem.
Do they do autopsy?
Yes.
Right. Then, do you have any scary stories about that?
Not much. Seen once, not a good sight, but yeah, traumatizing.
Good. Okay, step one. Okay, we go back to step one. It's only a 4-step process, with the last step being the inheritance process. Step one is really determine the cause of death, right? So for all of you out there, when somebody does pass away, step one, call your family doctor, failing which, call the police. Then they will come, determine the cause of death, and then you can move on to step two. Now, still on step one, if somebody passes away at the hospital will handle everything, right? They will handle the certificate of cause of death, they will handle the death certificate, they will handle the, if there's any autopsy required, etc., etc. So step one. Arjun.
Just a thought. These days before the online doctor and everything, and if the family don't have a family doctor, so they can just call any random doctor.
No, not
cannot.
any random doctor will want to certify that case because it's their license on the line if they make a wrong call.
So who do you call? If somebody really passes away at home and you don't have a family doctor, who do you call?
I mean, you can try some GPs whether they are willing to help. Yeah.
So you start
But
Googling and then
on a worst case scenario, if you really cannot find anyone and no one's willing to help, then they will bring back the body to the mortuary.
Oh, police, right?
They will.
So folks, to summarize what we just said, step one, when somebody passes away at home, try your best, call a doctor, family GP, somebody nearby, if they can come down and certify the cause of death. If they cannot, or nobody refuse, or you cannot get hold of any doctors, call the police. Call the police. You can call, of course, the 999, 995, but those are reserved for emergency. We do suggest calling the nearest neighborhood police post or neighborhood police center. Then they will know what to do and advise you accordingly. So step one, call the authorities or a doctor. Right?
I mean, if here's just an advice, like if you have a relative who is, on medication, it's good that the family knows what medication they're taking and what is it for. So
Yes.
it's easier for them to make adjustment.
Yes.
The cause of
Yes.
death.
No, yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I totally forgot. Because if usually when we look at people passing away at home, it's usually elder folks, older people, and they usually have a whole set of medication that they take. And so you, as the caregiver, if somebody at home has passed away, you need to know what are the medications they take, whether they have any medical history or medical conditions, and you need to talk to and tell the doctor so that the doctor can move on to step two, which is register the death. Now, the doctor or the hospital will then log on using whatever online systems they have and register the death with the Registry of Births and Deaths. So remember, all of you who are parents out there, pre-2020, right? Where you could, you had to go down to Lavender, go to the ICA building, get the birth certificate. This one terbalik. You go there, register the birth bulu to get the death certificate. So legit, you actually have to go down to police last time. Go to police station and report because their systems are linked to Registry of Births and Deaths. But today, everything is done online. The doctor or the doctor who certifies the death will then register everything online, and then the doctor will give you the death certificate number. Okay, so the death certificate number is something that you need. You log on to the My Legacy portal. So folks, go log on to the My Legacy portal, supply the deceased's death certificate number, and you might need the NRC number as well, to then download the soft copy of the death certificate. You have 30 days to do it. Were you all aware? So then, hooray, dah habis. No, because after the person has passed away, the doctor has certified the death, registered the death, then what? You leave the arwah there. What do you think is the logical next step?
Arrange the funeral.
Yeah. Step 4, folks, arrange the funeral. Now, we know in Muslim tradition, not culture, Muslim practice, you must bury the arwah as soon as possible. as soon as possible. How many of you do you know that we can bury people in Singapore at night? Yes or no?
At night?
This is something that's quite unique in Singapore. There are no night burials in Singapore. Other countries, they can bury the deceased at night. Singapore cannot. And so,
what's the logic in that? You know?
hantu. I don't know the logic behind it, lah. Frankly, I don't know the logic behind it. But from what I know, in Singapore's context, if somebody passes away at night, they cannot be buried at night. You have to wait until the next day, right? And so from here, typically when somebody passes away and you've gotten all of the contacts from the doctor or the police, the immediate next step you must do is contact a casket service. And so there's a few Muslim casket services available in Singapore. There's quite a few, and most of them will have a 24-hour hotline that you can then call and then arrange for their services. Right. So typically, have you guys seen one in action?
Yes. I have a few.
Right. And so typically, you know what they will do, like they'll send their staff to do the necessary things, like for example, the cleansing of the body, ghusl, bersihkan, mandikan mayat. They also do the enshrouding, kafan. Of course, they will also should provide an imam to lead whatever prayers that are necessary, salat janazah, the du'as, etc., etc.
Okay.
And of course, good ones will provide transport services for the deceased body, the janazah, to and from either the home or the hospital to the burial ground, the cemetery. Something that a lot of folks actually don't know about, which I realized after many conversations with multiple Muslim casket services, is the difficulty of getting the burial permit.
Yes.
Lul, tell us.
So in order to get the permit, it has the flow has to be very smooth. Even if there's a hiccup, then you don't get a permit, you cannot bury the body. At what you call that, Pusara Aman will reject your body because you cannot book a lot for the burial ground if you don't have everything, your document is not proper.
And a good Muslim casket service will handle the permit process for you. But you need to produce all the relevant documents, the deceased NRIC, the death certificate, minimum. Then they will say, okay, these are the documents we need. They will then go to NEA, National Environment Agency, NEA, to get the permit. And sometimes, like Izul says, I heard horror stories where the permit is delayed by hours and hours and hours, and sometimes the body is not buried until the next day.
Alright. It happens.
Asri looks confused.
No, I'm like wondering why would there be delays, that kind of thing.
Sometimes it's just the process or to get the permit. NEA don't get the proper document on time, then they can't produce it. Then sometimes then they couldn't send it over to Pusara Aman on time.
I'm wondering how these people who actually does the permit, as in, to get the period, as in you contact the casket company, do they actually go about getting the burial permit and everything?
Some funeral service they assist you with the permit to obtain the permit. Sometimes they will will ask the family to contact NEA themselves, which that's where the hiccups comes in.
That's why I said a good Muslim casket service gets you everything all in one package. Those that are not so great, kau buat sendiri lah.
They will tell you what to do, but sometimes because we're not au fait with it, there'll be hiccups along the way. That's where the delay comes.
And so, folks, here, to all our listeners out there, I mean, when somebody passes away, it's obviously a time of great stress, a lot of confusion. So you don't want to have to think about, aku nak kena buat ni, buat tu, ni. No, you don't want that. So we do have a list of preferred Muslim casket partners, which we will not release today. You have to contact us for that. And a good one, here's the thing, will cost you a bit of money lah. Okay? Because in Singapore, even dying is not free. Even dying is not free. A good Muslim casket service will charge you anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000, depending on the services required. You know, things like, of course, the basics like mandikan janazah, cleansing of the body, the kafan, imam leading the prayers, etc., etc. The permit application, transport, because some of them I've seen, they only just say we only transport the body and the immediate family members, just in one van. One hearse, one van. Some will say, okay, you want to transport the whole family, we reserve for you a bus, but you pay for the bus lah. So depending, again, I fully acknowledge there are all kinds of people with different, financial capabilities. It's something to consider. Really, really, it's something to consider. Because you don't want to say, oh, leceh, nak kena buat semua by ourselves, but we want to save the money, And so, long story short, we have seen cases where, I have heard of cases where the janazah is really buried really quickly, right? Where they passed away, and from start to finish, the whole process is done in under 5 hours, which is considered very fast rate. But we've also heard of stories where it's delayed a day, 2 days, kadang-kadang, and it's horrifying. Because, your family is grieving and there are these kind of delays. And so I hope that today's episode, when we talk about this to all our listeners today, you know what to do. To summarize, step 1, call police or a family doctor to certify the death. Then register the death, get your death certificate, engage a good Muslim casket service to be able to handle everything from start to finish for you and quickly get the arwah buried, the janazah buried as soon as possible. Because after that, then you start the even longer process of settling the inheritance, right? The letter of administration will take you 6 months to 3 years, sometimes even 5 years. If you already have the wasiat in place, inshallah, boleh settle within a few months. We've seen that, we've done that so many times, especially in our wasiat classes. And for all of you who are listening, I've written a step-by-step guide on what to do when a Muslim dies in Singapore. So if you want a copy of that, look at the link below, say yes, drop us a comment, say I want the guide, and we'll send it to you ASAP, inshallah. Okay? So gentlemen, what to do when a Muslim passes away in Singapore?
Call police.
Call police. It's true, it's true. It really is something, literally call police. And so I hope this guide that we've written, for me, is Saham Akhirat. It's a beneficial knowledge I want to share to as many people as possible. It is absolutely free. You can get a copy of the guide on our website, modernmuslim.finance. Do go visit there and send us your questions about, what to do when somebody dies. My name is Afiq from Modern Muslim Finance. These are my two brothers from other mothers. Get it? Zul and Asri, guys, any last things you want to say before we end today's episode?
I hope you all learned something new. Well, I'm sure I did. Me and probably you guys out there would never know about the burial permit. And then while in that situation, can you imagine actually the person actually telling us, oh, you need to go log in here and then do this. And then after that, you hiccup, and then all your relatives like, Asri buat salah. There you go.
Yeah, can you imagine that? You put in charge, engkau tak tahu apa nak buat, engkau screw up, the whole family blame you.
It happens.
What about you, Zul? Any last things to say?
I think it's a good initiative that Rafi has done. This booklet for us to refer to, because I think this knowledge, as time goes by, is getting lesser and lesser, and people are not quite aware and are familiar of what to do. Because recently, I attended a funeral I think about a month plus. The whole family doesn't know what to do. So yeah, so someone has to step in and guide them step by step. And this is a good reference for people to learn and pick up something. At the end of the day, this is Fardu Kifayah.
Oh yeah, bros. This is why we continue our classes, because if nobody else does it, mampu semua dosa.
Yep.
Okay, folks, so the last plug for this is the guide. I'm looking at it right now. It's almost 20 pages long. It contains quick checklists for you to follow. It contains resources for you to click on to go and get more information. So it's called What to Do When a Muslim Dies in Singapore. visit our website, drop us a comment, and we'll send you a copy absolutely free. And do share this to as many people as you can, because this knowledge will be the first one to fade away when the end times are coming. Dun dun dun. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.